My name is Elliott Clayton. I'm the commercial director for Conversant Media, and we've recently been acquired by Epsilon, and you can access all of our products through the Abacus relationship that you've got already. We are a very, very large business in terms of reach in each market in the world. Pretty much every country in the world, we're about the third or fourth biggest by reach, and that the people in front of that are Google or Facebook or Yahoo. So there's a lot that we can do for you. But what I'm going to talk to you about, and I hope you're going to find it interesting, is how right now I can show you how to make more money out of the existing budget that you've got. And hopefully you're going to agree that I've done that at the end. And it's going to be slightly interactive. I'm going to present things to you on your own phones, so you're going to see it happening in real time. So there's loads of opportunity for this to go completely wrong. So that might be exciting for everyone as well. But if you've got an iPhone or an iPad, definitely get it out, and I'll show you some cool bits in the middle. So it will take about the whole thing will take about 25 minutes. I'm going to give you some market insight at the beginning. We see 159 million conversions or sales happen a month in Europe in real time. I'm going to tell you how that gets distributed and how you can get in front of that and how you can use that knowledge for yourselves now. Then I'm going to talk about what Crossdevice is and what attribution is, and how it works and how we can identify which devices belong to one person. And then at the end, there's a little bit on how you should measure all of your digital media and how you can release budget for you to reinvest and how you can grow your businesses. So the first point I'd like to make is that we are all engaging with the internet in a cross-channel way. So we are using multiple devices to access the internet. So mildly interactive. So who opened an email on their work computer today? I did. Who opened one on their phone today? I did also. And who opened an email on their phone this morning, swore at why everyone's incompetent at work, and then rushed to work and did something at work, but didn't engage on that email on their phone? And I'd say probably about half of the people here. All right, now, the opportunity that I'm talking about is understanding that something's been generated on a phone that's made you take an action later on a desktop. All right, now that's a really significant chunk of action that's happening to make something convert. And if you understand what your audiences are doing, there's a lot of money to release. And at the moment, that is where digital is at the moment. That is, everybody is focused on just this one thing. It's like understanding who has walked past your above the line, who's seen your TV ad, who's seen a magazine ad, and who's seen a poster, and understanding that they've actually seen that ad and who that person was. Right? So there's a really big opportunity to be had from understanding it. This is what we saw for Q4 last year. Now, those are all of the sales that we've seen occur in the UK. Now, there's certain insights in that I'd like to share with you, which is that the typical sales days that you see, so Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Boxing Day, they're actually becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. So there's a really big opportunity for you. I don't think you're going to if you put more of your budget on those days, you're not going to lose money, all right? There's another interesting day on there, which is Singles Day, which is actually the biggest shopping day in the world because it's China's shopping day, and it's when single people buy themselves a present, which is brilliant. Of course it's going to grow. So there's another opportunity. There's another day already that you can leverage to start growing your businesses. Now, within that, one of the insights that we saw last year, and it's getting bigger, is that the amount of sales that are happening not on a desktop, but are happening on a mobile phone or a tablet is growing. And it's obviously growing because everyone's starting to use those devices more and more. It's actually a lot more significant than those numbers there for certain categories. So if you think about Black Friday, which everyone's going down Oxford Street and going into all of the local stores, what they're doing, they're looking for offers on their phones, and on certain categories, which is clothes and beauty, the number of conversions on mobile is actually 25% of all sales we saw were on mobile. If you think about that though, what would you guess the percentage of sales were where somebody looked at something on a phone and then converted later on? And I'll show you later on, but it's a big number, right? And understanding that is what I want to talk to you about shortly. These are the trends that we've seen. So that holiday sales period in the US, and obviously they've been pushing it for a lot longer, has grown on average 16% every year. And we've only really just started to see that trend here. If you think about everyone going crackers in Tesco's last year. it's going to happen again here, and it's going to grow here. So that's one insight, that you can grow your revenue incrementally by focusing on these days. The second one is that IBM and a lot of other businesses are saying that 50% of all time consumed on devices is going to be on mobile devices, which is tablets or phones. So the necessity to understand what is going on with those phones and how it's affecting those purchases is only going to get more serious. Okay, now I've got a ComScore's Global Future Trends document. I just got it this morning. If anyone wants it, I'll share it with you. But irrespective of where people thought they were looking at their email or not on their phone, 75% of all consumers in the UK right now are multi-device consumers. They already engage with brands on multiple devices. If you take younger adults, it's 97%. I mean, that's phenomenal. It's such a huge number. So it's not an immediate option. There is an immediate benefit from studying this, but it's going to become more and more important doing what is called person-first media. So I completely agree with Naomi. You need to concentrate on who the person is, not the actual devices. You need to understand whether you've shown someone 4 ads on 4 phones or whether that was actually 4 separate people. Okay? So, first question for you. What do you think probably of your own businesses, what percentage increase in sales do you think you would get just by measuring that number? And just write it down, because I'll show you probably what it is in a minute. So, how do we sort the problem? What is the problem within the digital bit at the moment, or what is being improved, and how do we do that for you? So, I'm going to Cairo shortly with my wife. We're going to her sister's wedding. And this is her looking for some sandals on her desktop on Tuesday. All right. Now, if anyone's done that recently, you have probably been chased around the internet by a pair of shoes. All right. And this is that happening. Okay. So that's my wife, Mandy. And what you can see is the specific thing that she was looking at has appeared on the website on the computer that she was looking at it on. All right. Now, the way that works is someone shows you ads at a very high frequency to try and remind you that you were about to buy something and try to get you to click on that ad to make you convert. All right. And that's called a last touch model, a post-click model. And what they're trying to do is to make you come back to the site and buy immediately. All right. Now, it's a good model. It drives masses of volume. It makes up, I would estimate, 70% or more of all digital DR activity, all right? But it's got 2 very significant problems, which is that my wife is going to buy these sandals no matter what. She doesn't need to be shown it by this ad. If she clicks on it because it's handy, the ad hasn't actually made her buy these shoes. So in that model, because it's so close to the point of purchase, in many cases, you end up paying the vendor to count sales that you're going to get anyway, all right? So there's an issue with incrementality in this model, all right? That's the first issue with it. The second issue with it is my wife doesn't access the Guardian or use desktop that much, to be perfectly honest, all right? So what she does do is she's got a Guardian app on her phone, and she's on that 8, 9, 10, 12 times a day, and that's also her proper downtime. So if I was what I would actually be trying to do is understand that my wife had looked at the site and then build up a long-term relationship on all of the other devices that she prefers to use in the places that she prefers to be engaged with. Okay, so if you can do that, if Very have the opportunity to understand that is my wife, that's a laptop, but actually that's her phone as well, and if I can show her ads there, she's much more likely to engage over a long period of time with us, and you can drive incremental sales from it, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute as well. So just to be completely clear, what we're trying to do, or what we do, and what other people are doing as well, is you understand how many devices are in somebody's house, how many people are in the house, which devices belong to which people, and then you can stay with those people during the day across all of their devices. Now, there's a lot of value in you being the person in your market doing that and other people not doing it, because your share of voice will go up massively of the exact audience that you want to talk to. And if your competitors aren't doing that, they're giving away their share of voice and their headspace to you, all right? Now, this is how we do it, and this is the iPhone bit, okay? So I'm going to show you this happening and how you might join devices together now. So if you get your iPhones or iPads out and you go into the settings bit, which is the grey cog bit, and go into privacy, then location services, and then system services, and then frequent locations. You can only do this on an iPhone. The Androids do it as well, but it's not as easy to get at it. If you click on one of the addresses on there, it will pull down this list. And what is in there is what Apple knows about where you've been for the last 3 months. Now, this is Apple's data. This isn't data that I'm accessing. But if you've got any apps on your phone distributing location, they are distributing this information. So it's really good for keeping track of your kids as well, by the way. So what this is actually showing, okay, is so this is my phone, and what it actually says at the top here, that Apple knows where my work address is and they know where my home address is, and I've never volunteered that information to them, and they know it because they know when I'm there, at what time, and how regularly. Okay, so it would be relatively easy to understand how joining my phone to my work laptop could be done by just understanding that they move together all the time and keep appearing together at the same time on all these wireless points, okay? The second point is my wife's phone, you see, is a much wider spread. So my wife's a psychologist, so she does a lot of home visits where she might not have her laptop out. So it's slightly more complicated. So you'd know where the home address was, but it's slightly harder to assess where which laptop would belong to her. But because we've separated my phone and my laptop and we know that they're somewhere else, it's easier to understand how you might be able to join her phone and her laptop and her tablet together as she's moving around. Yeah, so that's one way that people do it. The other way that we do it, we also use credit card details and hashed billing details and delivery details to join all of those devices together so we can see an individual person. Now, there's a lot of opportunities from that, and this is where I'm going to start talking about the kind of incremental benefits of doing this as opposed to not doing this. So when you're running retargeting now, I almost guarantee you that if you're running retargeting ads on your laptops or on your website, when you're running it into a laptop, you're ignoring about 40% of your own audience. And that's because 40% of your audience are accessing your website through certain browsers like Firefox. You've got Internet Explorer, you've also got Firefox. Firefox blocks your retargeting from appearing in it. Apple blocks your retargeting from appearing on it. And the reason is they identify that the media is being sent by a third party, and they block third party data. Okay, so if you do cross-device marketing, you can deliver media from yourselves. So effectively, when the code appears, it would say very.very ... not very.conversant ... that makes the ad appear, and Apple will allow that media to deliver. So what you get is a massive opportunity to communicate better with your existing audience over time, and there's a huge incremental lift from being able to do that. I hope that's clear. So this is it. So I hope nobody went up higher than this. So if you estimate the value of sales to your business of understanding this cross-device piece. So if I understand that measurement, that's one thing. But if I optimize my media delivery at a user level, that's something completely different. If I can control frequency at a user level and understand that 4 devices is actually one person, I can run an absolutely phenomenal brand campaign. I can run a really good DR campaign, but I can run a phenomenal brand campaign. So this is only a 10K spend, so we can do this at all different values of budget. What this is actually showing, this is through Nielsen, so this is their incremental measurement. They do an A/B study in real time of brand lift, right? The orange button, that's the average increase in brand lift for that category, which is entertainment. The green button, or the green bubble, is for this client. What is that client's average lift for 10K spend? So it's 10.3%. The blue button, which is 118% brand lift, that's the result they got from running a cross-device brand lift campaign. So for the same budget, they got 10 times higher lift just by running their media in a slightly more joined up way. So there's really significant opportunities. So that's the first bit I wanted to talk about. Now, The next point is, if I go back to the first example of doing everything post-click and working with attribution models or last touch attribution models, they tend to skew your media in a way that you're not generating incremental lift. So my point about online attribution is you should ignore online attribution and you should do A/B test and control measurement on everything, because it's the only absolutely solid gold way of knowing what your media is doing. So I'm sure you all do test controls all the time on your emails and creative and mail, obviously. It's actually surprisingly difficult to do it inside digital because it's really hard to create a clean control group. But if you do create a control group at a user level and measure all of your media like that, you'll be able to understand where you're actually getting incremental lift from across the plan. The way that we do that, the tool that we use actually optimizes to that figure as well. So you can actually optimize to a return on ad spend, an incremental return on ad spend, your own goal. You can set that, and then that is how your media's actually delivered. So, summary. So people are using increasing numbers of devices to engage with your brands. On our network, we see about three and a half devices per person. Identifying the individual underneath it, this is slightly anecdotal and it's based on the campaigns that we've run, but for running campaigns cross-device, we have seen at minimum a 15% increase in DR response and a 30% increase in brand response across all different types of verticals and campaigns. And the final point is that measuring all of the media through test and control is the only really definitive way to prove incrementality. And if you're running test controls, the sort of things that people worry about in digital, like viewability or who's seen the ads or ad fraud and things like that, it's all taken away because it's all in the control. They've got equal chance to be exposed on both. So it sounds complicated, but it's actually a really simple way to get immediate benefits now from your media. That's it.